Hi everyone, Emma Talisi here. Thank you all for joining me live this evening. If you're dropping in live, drop me a note below. It'd be great to know that you're online, that you're watching, and that you're enjoying what I've got to say. So this evening I wanted to share with you all, negativity is okay. Just recently I've heard quite a few people who have maybe had negative thoughts or negative emotions, and they've actually beat themselves up and really been quite down on themselves for having those negative thoughts or negative emotions. And I just wanted to share with you all that it's okay to have negativity sometimes. No one in this world can be positive 100% of the time. It's okay to have those negative thoughts. We don't ever have control over the first thought or the first emotion that comes to us, but we do have control over the second. So you can absolutely switch it up and turn it into a positive if you do have negative thoughts. But here's the thing, the worst thing you can do is just cover up those negative thoughts or negative emotions and just layer them with positivity, because actually you're not really getting to the root cause of the problem, of what's going on deep down. So if you do have a negative thought or a negative emotion, the best thing that I can say for you to do is to write it down. And I actually carry around with me a little journal, and I call it my ego versus intuition journal. And I've actually heard people call it maybe their shadow self and their true self. And so if I have a negative thought or a negative emotion, then I'll journal it down and I'll write about it. And I don't necessarily have to deal with it then and there. I can maybe deal with it later in the day if I don't have time to right then. And what I'll do is I'll go back to it and I'll ask myself, actually, what does my intuition tell me about this statement that I said, or this thought that I had, or this emotion that I have? What does my intuition tell me about it? And do I truly believe what I said then, or the thought that I had right then? Because sometimes you'll surprise yourself and realise that you don't necessarily believe that thought that you had. And the trouble is that a lot of the negativity that we have, or the thoughts that come into our head, are actually conditioning from a long time ago. So it's great to kind of lean into it and actually allow yourself to have those emotions and those feelings, and then ask yourself, where has this come from? Where did it come from? Where did it stem from? And if you can find that out, it's fantastic, because you can actually, it'll help you to release it and to let it go. So I wanted to share a little story with you all, and I read it in a book, and I cannot for the life of me remember which book I've read it in. So if anyone else has heard this story and you read it in a book also, please jot it below and let me know which book it's come from, because I can't remember. And it's just basically a story that shows us that sometimes we carry things on through our lives without really understanding why we carry it on, or actually asking ourselves if we truly believe it. So here's the story. There was a husband and a wife, and the wife was cooking a Sunday roast, and what she did was she chopped the ends off both of her joint before she put it in the pan and then put it in the oven. And the husband said to her, "Why do you chop the ends off this joint before you put it into the oven?" And she said, "Well, my mum always did it that way, so I just assumed that was the right way to do it." So she rang up her mum and she asked her mum, "Why is it that you chop the ends off the joint before you put it in the oven?" And her mum said, "Well, your grandmother always did it that way, so I've just carried it on, and that's the way that I've always done it." So the girl then rang up her grandmother and said, "Grandmother, why is it that you chop the ends off your joint before you put it in the oven?" And her grandmother said, "Well, my pan was never big enough to fit the joint in, so I had to chop the ends off before I put it in the oven." And suddenly she realised that there was no need for her or her mother to actually chop the ends off this joint and then put it in the oven. It was just something they'd carried on doing because that's what they'd seen her do, and they never asked her why. And that actually happens with a lot of things, maybe some thoughts that you have or negative conditioning that you might have. Sometimes it can come from a long time ago. You might have heard your parents say things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or I'm sure there's loads of other sayings that you might have heard that suddenly you hear it so much that you actually begin to believe it without actually stopping and thinking, do I truly believe this? Is this in alignment with what I want to do and with what I believe in my life? Because sometimes it's not going to be. So that's why having this journal is a great way to actually realise whether these things are things that you believe or not. So negativity is good. It's okay to have it, because then it can help you get to the root of where these things have come from, and to help you to release them and let them go. Because when you've done that, then the chances are that you're less likely to have those thoughts or those feelings or those emotions again. So if you've enjoyed my video today, give me a thumbs up, give me some love, and if you've got value from it, share it with your friends, and definitely drop a note below and let me know, have you had any negative thoughts or emotions recently that you need help with working through, because I'm absolutely here to help you all do that. So thank you guys for watching my video today, and I'll absolutely speak to you all very soon. Take care.